Greetings everyone and welcome back. Today I'd like to do a little rant about Fallout Vault 76 and just how this game's gonna be nothing but an unmitigable disaster. Yeah, I know. I blasphemed against the cult of Todd Howard. So be it. I will accept my excommunication and banishment. But before I go on, I'd like to preface this with, well, I fully believe this game's gonna be a disaster of epic proportions. It doesn't have to be a disaster. It might actually come out, surprise us all, showing that it was just some of the worst marketing leading up to a game's release that we've ever experienced since ever. And that we'll sit down the day it comes out and we'll play it and be like,
it just works.
But let's be honest, that's not going to happen. Why? Because this game suffers from an immeasurable identity crisis. Just who exactly is this game even being developed for in the first place? If you want PvP, well, too bad, it's neutered. If you want PvE, well, it's not being offered, even though every other survival game offers you PvE servers. It's not a traditional Fallout game. You can't walk up to NPCs and take on quests. There's just nothing traditional about it, even though with their neutering of PvP, one is just asked, why not just have made a traditional Fallout game where you could play it with 4 other friends or however many they wanted to put in there. Beyond that, for a survival game, it's the same levels of Fallout 4 as confirmed. So, that might be the only good thing, but is there much of a crossover between those that like Survival Light and people like Survival? That's going to have to be seen, because at this point, that's about the only people I can see interested in this game. But moving on, speaking of no NPCs, we're supposed to get all of our interaction from this game from interacting with other people. So they're going to be our merchants, they're going to be our clans, our groups, our factions, and holy hell, is this just a bad idea. Anyone who spends 5 minutes around the fan communities will tell you that these are some of the most toxic, cult-like people you will meet. These are communities where you can talk about wanting to enjoy PvP and how it's going to be so great, and just talk about, are you going to build a trap base like people build in Rust? Are you going to snipe? Are you going to, who's going to be trolling? Who's going to be doing what? And get dogpiled. Endlessly dogpiled by everyone to the point where you actually have to block people who are just being so absolutely toxic, berating you, cussing you out. Yet now, if you talk about just wanting PvE, you are called entitled and just a list of expletives that I cannot repeat because of YouTube's algorithms wanting corporate-friendly content. And these are supposed to be people you're supposed to trade with. These are people who you're supposed to negotiate with. These are people who you're supposed to form faction with. Like large-scale factions, which buggers the mind. Because how are you supposed to form factions with people that essentially all have the same toxic mentality? I really just don't see factions even forming beyond maybe some loose affiliations of groups of friends. And that would not be an issue. That would just be a caveat, if this wasn't supposed to be the entirety of the game. Like, there is nothing else out there other than exploration, which Bethesda really misses the mark on. Exploration was fun because you were given an objective, and as you're walking toward that objective, you stumble across a town and you find out their story. You find these ruins, a police station to scavenge in, and it just made the journey from point A to point B so fantastic, because sometimes you end up spending 4-6 hours before you even get to your objective because there was just so much to see and do in between that. And that is why these became some amazing stories. Like the other day, I'm playing Fallout 4, and I get to see where they're having a funeral that I had never gotten before. And it was just really cool to have experienced that for the first time because they added this filler to this location. Or having synths in this building that attacked me. That was cool because it was not just, I walked for 20 minutes to get from Sanctuary to, let's just say Diamond City. I don't really remember where I was heading there, but I was going to Diamond City and I encountered this funeral, I encountered some sins, I was hit by raiders. That's what made exploration fun. Not, oh hey, now all we have is exploration. You know? Yeah, I understand walking sims have a certain appeal to a lot of people, but is this the same community that just wants to enjoy being killed by some people in some circumstances, have to fight monsters in other circumstances, and quests? Even though there's not going to be NPCs, there's supposed to be still quests in this game, and also enjoy building mechanics. Like, do people who want to play walking sims, do they want to enjoy that same level of features that Fallout fans do? And I just don't see it. That just might be me. I'll fully admit to it. But when this is going to be the majority of the content, it's just going to get old fast. That's not even before getting into the argument about quality of what was being offered versus what modders are giving you. Oh, go look at this crashed space station. Modders be like, oh, look at this space station in space where you'll be able to fight in low G physics in combat that will push the engine to its limits. There's no compare. This all just reeks of inexperience, of just ignoring what your competition are doing that works, what doesn't work. Because they could look at what Rust works, what Rust doesn't work at, and make like the most superior survival game online they're out there, yet they're just trying to reinvent the wheel when it doesn't need to be reinvented. That's not being entitled. That's just saying, hey, look, here's what these other games are offering. I can go buy Rust. I can go buy games like Subnautica, The Forest. These are what are competing for my time and money. So just to say, oh, hey, you just have to accept what Bethesda's offering is absurd. And I'm going to throw my hat in here for Nostradamus of gaming and make a prediction, because they've said there will not be another Fallout game developed by an independent studio. I'm calling it right now. If this game fails, we will have an announcement for another Fallout game developed by an independent studio. ZeniMax is not going to sit for 7 to 10 years on the Fallout IP and not have anything done with it. Like, that's not going to happen. Anyone who thinks that's going to happen is just unrealistic. I hope this game works out. I really do want this to be a good game. But when the developers themselves show that they are extremely nervous, when every time they open their mouth about some new part of the game, it just makes you go, why? When just nothing looks like it's coming together as a congruent picture. And again, maybe we just have to play it. Maybe we just have to sit down and just see how it works, and they're just doing a really horrible job because they are single-player focused developers. Maybe it just works. But I'm not seeing it. And I don't think it's wrong to say at this point we're not seeing it. And the fact that if you show doubt about this game, you are harassed out of most Fallout communities is absurd. We should be able to say, hey, I have concern about this game because it's, 1, not what I want. 2, doesn't sound like they actually know what they're doing. 3, I don't like this feature, or just whatever we want to say. Like, I don't know what's worse. I really don't. The development of this game, or the community's reaction to people who voice dissent about it.